Hey guys, back again, another video. As it says here in the video description, I'm gonna be talking about the Derozan Chicago Bulls media day uh, interview, I guess. And yeah, so this would mean I've done Billy Donovan and AK. Even though I haven't done it like this, I've done so, and I've done Zach. So now we get into Derozan. If you guys want me to actually sit down and do the one for Billy Donovan and Arturis, I can do that. Just let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna need a minimum of 5 comments for that specifically for me to do that one again this way. Other than that, I will be doing everybody else that has one, which to my knowledge is Pat Will and Vooch is the other ones I'd have to do. There might be one for Caruso. I have to check, but I know those two for sure have one. But anyway, let's get this thing started.
Sure. Hi, DeMar. Casey Johnson with NBC Sports Chicago. We spoke to you after your signing, but now you've obviously had some time here in the city and around some teammates. I know it's not full go yet, but what have you been able to learn about Billy Donovan, Zach LaVine, other guys that you've been around a little bit less?
I actually like this question. It does a couple things here. First of all, the question is asking, it frames it that, okay, now that you've been here for a while, which means, okay, now that you had the Chicago experience for a little bit, what has it been like uh, with these guys, your new teammates, 2 to 3 in particular, and your coach? So basically, what have you learned? What has your time amounted to? Things like that, kind of trying to probe him for uh, I guess, bits and pieces or gems and jewels about his teammates that he may have received.
Key workouts.
Great group of guys. First and foremost, just great people, great human beings. The
I don't know why I heard him say great human beings and my mind thought Griff. I'm sorry.
the vibe and everything is definitely positive, and I love that first and foremost, especially the city. Just energetic. Just excited being here. New city, and great weather so far. So far.
We'll see how that feels, nigga, when that shit get cold. By the way, my man up here looking like Coolio. If you don't know who Coolio is, Coolio, just dating myself now. Go look up Coolio. What's the name of that song? Gangsta's Paradise. That's probably one of his more famous songs. But he looks straight like Coolio did back in the day right now.
Tomorrow, Cheryl raced out for WBEZ Radio. Since you've been here and dealt with, what's something that you didn't know that you found out during these last few months about the Bulls and about Chicago?
This is the same chick in that last video that asked that stupid ass question. This ain't a stupid question. It's just like, why do we care?
How nice the weather could be before it get too cold. But I mean, just you get a different feel for the city. Obviously, for as long as I've been in the league, I was able to come to the city rather here a day or so. But just being around, just seeing, how energetic of a sports city it is, not just with basketball, just all over, baseball, football, whatever it may be. The excitement for everything, it just give a different type of feel to the city, whether if me just going to different restaurants, going out to eat, just appreciation for sports is just at a higher level than what I thought,
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt that shit. DeRozan is a talker. I'm a talker too, but he tends to, I don't want to say fumble through words, but it's kind of like, he kind of just like, I don't want to say slurs into words, but he kind of rides into the words. And so he's really saying some shit he could have probably said within like 2 or 3 sentences, but he's just like trying to, he's one of those guys where he tries to, be mellow all the time. And I don't necessarily think he likes interviews or stuff like this because it puts him, he has to kind of like, hear the question and then try to, relax and not get worked up and just, give an answer when it could have been like, city's nice, energetic city. You know, I like it so far. You know, nice weather, whatever.
Since I've been here.
Hey, what's up? Darnell Mayberry with The Athletic. Zach was just in here. He made a point to tell us that, let's be clear, that you're still in the prime of your career. He said, let's not get that twisted.
Let's not get that twisted. He's 31 or 32 years old. He is still in his prime.
But you've had different chapters and phases with the Toronto, San Antonio, the Olympics. How would you classify this chapter of your career and your motivation at this stage?
I think for me, the best part of my career, with the knowledge that I've gained over the years, my perspective on how I approach the game, how I approach preparation, everything to the game is definitely, it took me 13 years to get to the point that I'm at mentally, physically, emotionally, and approaching the game. So for me, I think it's just my best go around. Obviously, my time in San Antonio, I learned so much more about myself as a player that I was able and capable of doing. It grew me more as a leader, being in San Antonio. And this time around, it's just putting everything that I've learned in my career all together. Like I said, I think for me, it just put me at a different level, physically and mentally.
Let me say this, and I don't know, this is a habit I've learned, or not a habit, this is something I've learned listening to myself. Just a little insight about me. When I post a lot of my videos, I tend to go back and listen. And one of the things I've started keeping up with is my breath pattern. So, and you guys will probably start doing this too now that I mention it, but it's like there's certain times where I take a breath and then I'll continue my thought and speak. If you listen to DeMar DeRozan, his breath pattern it's kind of weird, but I get it. He kind of speaks in run-on sentences if you follow. Like if you go back and listen, like outside of this video, if you just go listen to his interview, listen to when he starts taking his breaths. And it seems like he takes them in a weird location or weird way. Like for me, I typically take mines somewhere between the end of a sentence or like I just did right there in the middle of a sentence where I give a pause and I'm linking two sentences together. DeRozan, he kind of talk. It's like he's like, okay, I got to get it all out in this, in this breath. Oh, wait, I need to breathe. Okay, now I need to get it all out in the next breath. And then I need to breathe. Instead of just like, okay, take your time and ease into it. Now, it could be because he's on camera. I don't know if he's got nerves or anything like that, but he's done this enough. He should be used to it, but it's just something I pick up on. I start paying attention to the breath patterns of people. And I learned that because of myself. Like something I learned listening to my own videos is I learned I smack. And I don't know where that came from. I've never noticed that until I started doing videos. And so I'm sitting there like, I wonder if my friends notice that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I put it like this. If you want to learn stuff about yourself, record yourself. Even if you're not posting it for people to see, you will start to pick up on certain things that you do that you may not have ever noticed is programmed into your being just through life. Okay, but anyway, enough of that.
Sam Smith with Bulls.com. You were one of the latter additions with the signing. What's your sense of this roster and the possibilities? And also, Taj Gibson, I think you know. Did you have any sense of this organization and Chicago over the years?
Okay, I actually like this question. One, hold on, let me take these out my ear real quick. This one in particular was bothering me. Gotta take my pieces out. Okay. I like this question for the simple fact that if you didn't know, he does have a relationship with Taj Gibson, and as he'll say here in a minute, Jimmy Butler. But I like this question because it's more so asking what the previous players have said about the Bulls. And it's allowing people to get a sense of how other people feel about this organization. Now, most players aren't going to say anything bad, but just listen to his answer.
For sure, those first time, besides just Taj, I was good friends with Jimmy Butler. Obviously, me and Jimmy always used to have battles when he played here, and just talking to those guys and just getting their perspective what it was like playing in Chicago. And there's been a lot of other former players that played here, especially since I've signed here, that gave me their perspective on being here and playing here, the city. Just everything about it was always something positive. So being with this group of guys was definitely an exciting decision for me to be a part of once y'all seen.
I was trying to pause that. Look, here's the other thing about this too. It seems like all the questions so far have somewhere been about like, okay, your teammates. At some point, you got to start adjusting your questions, okay? You done asked about Billy Donovan. You done asked about Zach and Zoe. You done asked about his teammates again. That's 3 straight questions. Come on, media.
And all the additions.
DeMar, how do you expect to best fit in the offense with Zach, and how do you think you guys will work together in that sense?
This question has been given to him a lot since the signing because there's questions about the fit. Okay, let's discuss this real quick because he's annoyed with the question, and I'm annoyed with the question. Here's the thing: there's an issue with the fit. Okay, what's the issue? That's my question. What is the issue? Come on, media. Give me, like, if you're going to say there's an issue with the fit or there's a question with fit, tell me what the issue with the fit is. For me, I've already explained this to you guys, so I'm not going to go into details. If you want to know, you can go ask, not ask, you can go look at the one I did for Zach LaVine, I believe. I think that's the one where I actually discussed the fit because I think it was brought up in that one. It's really not as big of an issue as they're making it out to be, unless the only way I could see this being an issue on the offensive side of the ball is if they're both trying to get in the same location and score. And from what I've seen of their shot charts, that's simply not the case. They should be just fine. I'm going to use the example of the Pelicans last year. And I did this in another video, but there was something else I forgot to add, and I want to go ahead and take that opportunity to do that now. I mentioned Steven Adams and Zion, and that's true. Everything I said about that is true. But what about Brandon Ingram? Okay, he likes to be in the mid-range. Yes, he can shoot from the outside, but he prefers to be in the mid-range in the paint. Okay, if Zion drives the ball and collapses the defense, they're all going to be in that paint. Okay. If B.I. needs to get it to the mid-range to attack, let's say when you pass the ball, and he needs to get it to the mid-range, well, guess what? You got 4 guys in the paint already, plus B.I.'s man who has to be there to guard him. How does that make for an effective shooting or shot chart? We're having situations where you're clogging up the places where your guy needs to operate and work. That is why I've questioned the fit of B.I. and Zion. Not that those two aren't good, but one of the things I said last year is I thought Zach LaVine would be a better pairing with Zion for the simple fact that Zion is an interior threat, and even though Zach likes to drive the ball and he's athletic and he can get there, he's way better at shooting and playing on the perimeter than Brandon Ingram is. And so it would mean that their fit would be even better because now Zion is pulling people in and Zach is pulling people out. There's a space in the middle. So when you have a guard like a Lonzo Ball, who's been working on that mid-range, give him the ball from their gravity, he can make something happen, okay? As we're talking about this team, this is really, and if I look at it this way, saying B.I., which is Derozan, paired with Zach LaVine. Now, even though B.I. could do some work on the perimeter, he really wants to be in the mid-range. Most of his shots are going to come from the mid-range. BI is a way better shooter from three than Derozan is. So you have to worry about him on the perimeter, clogging that part up and pulling people out. But Derozan is going to pull people in to the mid-range and into the painted area. If I'm looking at these two, if there's going to be an issue, it's going to be an issue when Zach LaVine drives the ball to get into the paint and he needs to kick out. Because if he's going to kick out, if you're giving it to DeRozan, where does DeRozan want to be in the mid-range? Well, by him getting into the paint, there's guys there in the mid-range. So if they don't work, if they have any issues, that's the case. But 9 times out of 10, I don't think that's going to be the issue. If they're going to give the ball to Lonzo, which seems like they are, you give Lonzo the ball and you allow Lonzo to make the play. Zach can sit on the perimeter, and so can DeRozan. But they're going to be on the opposite end. So DeRozan here or Zach here or vice versa. And I get Lonzo in pick and roll. And what I do is when Lonzo drives, he can hit the mid-range. He can knock down threes. If he gets into the paint, at that point, you can give the ball to Zach LaVine, and then he can make something happen because he's more of a range threat. He could then go and Zoe can then go take the place of where DeRozan is, and you can shift DeRozan elsewhere to make a play. That's the way I look at it. But if, like I said, if there's going to be an issue with them playing off of each other, it's going to be when Zach LaVine attacks, because DeRozan needs to be in the same locations to operate his game. That's the only issue I could see. Now, that's not an issue when you give DeRozan the ball, because when DeRozan kicks out, Zach LaVine is pulling people anyway because he's a great shooter. There's going to be plenty of space for people to relocate. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that this is only an issue when Zach drives the ball, because DeRozan really doesn't have gravity outside on the perimeter because he's not a good three-point shooter. But any other time, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, it's not rocket science, it's not rocket science at all. He have a passion for the game and a love and appreciation to want to win, and the knowledge and everything that I've gained over my years of being a lead and being in different situations and seeing success and playing with all type of players. I understand what it takes. So for me, it's just about us putting in the hard work and understanding one of each other, and not just me and him, as a team, as a collective together, and once we unlock that and figure that part out with hard work and just being consistent starting tomorrow, it's going to go a long way.
Marshall Harris, CBS 2 here.
Let me add to this too before I forget. DeRozan, his mid-range shots last year were some of the most contested in the league, and I think he had the highest, or he was like either the highest or top 3 percentage from mid-range last year. Why I think it's not going to be an issue is because of that right there. I think because he's shown the ability to just hit shots in the mid-range over anybody, I think he could deal with whatever. So, like, if Zach does drop the ball or something, and now he's in the mid-range area and everything, he's clogging up a little bit, DeRozan has shown he can hit those shots his entire career. Now, what I think might happen is it might hurt his field goal percentages overall this year. His field goal percentages may be a little bit further down, but he will be more effective in general anyway, because there's much more spacing on this floor than what will have been in San Antonio.
You've obviously been, as you said, over a decade plus in the NBA. You've been in different situations now. Does that make this process that you're talking about, like starting training camp with new guys, easier, level of patience that you kind of understand it's going to take, or is it just going to be tough when you start out?
No, I'm all for it. Patience, maturity, understanding. And, first and foremost, before I even play the game, I understand every single one of these guys' strengths when it comes to basketball, just my knowledge of what it takes to be successful, what it takes to, bring a team together. Like I said, and we got a great opportunity tomorrow just to start day one putting this thing together, and that's what it's all about. As long as we put in the hard work and be consistent every single day, that's what it's about. You know, it's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be obstacles that you got to hit. But that's the beauty of life, period. You know, it's about how you bounce back from when things get tough and you got to figure out something. So it's a new challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
With that being said, DeRozan has been in the league for a long time now, and he's went up against LeBron. He's gone up against the very best night in and night out. He has a lot of experience. As far as patience is concerned, he understands that, with turnover, it's going to be a learning curve. But like he's been saying, hard work and all that stuff, yada, 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 you could push through that. For him, I don't think, and for this team in general, let me say, I don't think the learning curve is going to be too high. The only thing that would concern me is the timing of certain plays. But from what I've been listening to from some people, most of the people that I trust on basketball knowledge tend to think that this team won't be in half court as much for it to matter. Like, they just think every time they get the ball, they're going to try to run, period. Which would mean there's less need for that. And if you're going to put the ball in Lonzo's hands and that's how you're going to play, I think he's very good at getting the ball to a person where they need it, where they don't really need to make any dribbles. And so to me, it's just like, okay, if I go get any group of guys and I say, all right, let's go out there and run, I think we all understand, okay, get the ball, push it, one shot or one dribble and take a shot, or one dribble, look for the open man to pass. I think that's a whole lot easier to do as far as integration than if you're trying to sit there and run half court offense the entire time, which they will be doing. But I think the timing on that becomes less of an issue if you're going to run the entire time.
Hey, DeMar, Mark Shanowski, ABC7. Last year in San Antonio, Coach Pop asked you to play a little bit of a different role. You were the facilitator from the small forward spot. You averaged a career high in assists, played a lot of power forward as well. Now with Patrick having the unfortunate ankle injury, do you anticipate more of that role being at the forward spot and also moving over to the four at times?
I mean, it's basketball at the end of the day. You put me out there, I'm going to figure out whatever needs to be figured out for us to be successful. I don't overthink it. I think that's when a lot of people get in trouble, when you try to overthink this game. It's a simple game. You understand what it takes, what needs to be done, and you go out there and execute it and do it to the best of your ability. That's what it's all about. I don't get caught up in, I got to do this. Whatever it takes to win, that's all I care about.
Now, to that, it's a simple game, but it is a difficult game or a complex game. One of my weaknesses, I think, as a person thinking of this from a coach's mind, is I'm creative, but I'm within a block or I'm within a box. For instance, he's saying that, you put him at power forward or whatever, he'll figure it out. That's fine to say on paper, but there's no figuring out guarding Zion. There's no figuring out as a 6'6" shooting guard or wing player how to deal with someone who, say, 6'10" and weighs like 30, 40 pounds more than you is banging your body. There is nothing you can figure out with that. You have to just do what you can do. But to the point, one of my weaknesses, I feel, is I'm too much in a box. So if you're telling me he's going to be playing power forward, I cringe. I don't like it. I have a mindset or a thought process for what a power forward should be. And I'm like, but can you win doing that? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So, even with my own biases or the way my basketball philosophy is set up, I don't like it, but he is right. You have to do what you can and try to make it happen. You got to figure it out. And I like that answer from him.
Hey, Tamar. So Rob Schaefer with NBC Sports Chicago. Kind of similar question to what Cody asked, but expanding to Zach and Vooch. Obviously, the three of you guys have all been 20, 25 point-a-game scorers, all-stars in the league. As you've made clear your thoughts on how it's all going to fit together and how that trust and consistency will get you guys there. But as you've gotten acclimated to them.
This is a long-winded ass question, dude. Get to the fucking point. Matter of fact, hold on, let me show you DeMar's face. That is a face of like, dude, can we get to the point already? Like, bro, get to the fucking point. By the way, listen to his response to this.
And learn more about them. You know Vuce for a while, but as a teammate in Chicago, what do you think about your guys' three temperaments will allow you guys to mesh? And if there is sacrifice, not in a bad way involved, like what about the three of you guys?
This nigga legit still talking. He asked a question and it's still going. He must be nervous as shit, bro. It was simple. All you had to do was say, hey, DeMar, how does your personality with Zach and Vooch, how will that mesh and work to make this thing, more successful for the team? That's the simple way to ask that. We going on over like a minute and he is still talking about the same fucking question.
Guys, do you think will work so well once you have the opportunity to play together a little bit more?
I mean, teams got to figure that part out when it comes to us. We got a talented group of guys. You're not even forgetting, Lonzo.
Ding. And that's what I wanted you guys to pick up. He forcefully made sure Lonzo was being included with this. But listen to the first part of his answer. He says, yeah, that stuff is going to be true to some degree, but they also got to figure that out when it comes to us. Like, other teams have to figure out how to deal with us too, which goes back to the thing I've been saying. They have no tape on this squad. When you have and this is what I think, this is going to either be a different kind of offense never before seen, or it's going to be super high paced and nobody's going to know how to deal with it. You have no tape on this. You don't know what's coming. The first 10 or 20 games-ish is going to be just a straight blitzkrieg if they come out hitting. I am so glad he said this, and I'm so glad he was like, look, yeah, you're talking about scores, but add Lonzo, because even if he don't score, he's still incorporating and doing stuff in the game that's going to affect our ability to score.
He make our job a lot easier. It's not just solely on us just to go out there and figure it out. We have a great high Q point guard, and that goes a
I'm so glad he said this. It is not solely on us just to have to go and figure it out. We're going to trust our point guard, who we understand and respect as high IQ. If he wants us to get to a certain spot on the court, we're going to trust him because we know he's going to do stuff that's going to make our job easier.
A long way in making our job a lot easier. And like I said, it starts tomorrow. I was just putting in that work, laying down that groundwork on how we're going to approach this thing, and putting it all together. And we have great high character players, unselfish players. And once you have that element, everything else will be easy. On any given night, it could be anybody that could get hot. And we all understand that. We all unselfish, and for me, even choosing on coming here was understanding that with the character guys, and being unselfish, because that you need that goes a long way. It's not about.
Okay, this video is in total, not mine, but the interview here is 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Everybody else's was around like 6 minutes, with the exception of Billy Donovan Art. But the long-windedness of the questions and the long-windedness of his response made for a much longer video. It is what it is.
Me feeling like I'm gonna go out there and get 25 shots. No, and none of us think that way. It's all about winning and whatever we need to do and whatever we need to figure out to be a successful team. That's what we're gonna do.
Guys, we're gonna do two more because we got Lonzo in here. So two more, please.
Tomorrow, Mike McGraw, Daily Herald. I'm just curious, when did you arrive in town, and have you gotten a chance to get to know Zach a little better in these, weeks or whatever, how long you've been?
Stupid question. There was already tape and video of them working out prior to this. Stupid question. And everybody knows that they had already been working out. Hell, it was just asked when Zach LaVine was up there who was before him. Stupid question.
That's the beauty of privacy is I was with Zach way before I came to Chicago. We worked out together. I've been in and out the last couple of weeks, last month or so. It's been times me and Zach flew here together and went back to LA together. So we've been spending a lot of time together.